Welcome back. Let me take you through the front page of a local dailies before we get into a discussion. On the front page of the Daily Nation, what we have here, the front page of the Daily Nation, storm overhiring of 10,000 police officers. Storm overhiring of hiring 10,000 police officers. There is that aspect of power struggle between police boss Douglas Kanja and the National Police Service Commission, which could derail an upcoming recruitment drive, with the commission now split into two factions. Writing to the IG to reclaim human resource functions, including hiring, promotions and staffers, transfers, that is. The commission has kicked off countrywide public hearing on new recruitment guidelines. They want online and digital recruitment of police officers, and now public participation is actually ongoing. More millions houses offer to Harambee, something we've talked about. The president yesterday met the national team at Pullman's hotel. President raises cash awards to each player to 2.5 million shillings. 2.5 million shillings should the national football team win Sunday's match against Zambia. A sweeter deal awaits should the team qualify for the knockout stage. An interesting offer there. 8 billion shillings claims for civil servants. Tutors probed the insurance. Now, that's part of the cover where senators petitions the House to investigate unpaid health insurance claims to families of public servants who died or were injured while on duty. On the front page of the Daily Nation, court bars import of duty-free white rice. The government plans to import 500,000 tons of white rice has been suspended by the High Court following petition by the Farmers' Party, which claims that the move will hurt local farmers. That is what I have here on the front page of the Daily Nation. Very quickly, on the front page of the Standard, shielding Lagat. That's what is here on the front page of the Standard newspaper, shielding Lagat. The 5 on the front page. Okay. The explainer says that 2 Kenyans have moved to court accusing President William Ruto, top security chiefs and the Attorney General of shielding Deputy Inspector General Eliud Lagat from murder charges of the death of whistleblower Albert Ojwang, alleging a high-level cover-up, fabricated suicide theory and a justice system stacked in favor of the powerful. That is what is on the front page of the Standard newspaper. Torture in prison still under wraps. Right defenders warn that torture, injury and deaths in prisons are routinely concealed. They are now calling for full accountability, independent oversight and urgent reforms in that industry. Pregnancy tests in schools trigger outrage. Legal experts and a parent association have condemned schools accused of forcing pregnancy tests on girls, calling the practice unlawful, degrading, and a violation of privacy. Debatable. Debatable. Okay. Nicholas is already in studio. Omwami?
Yes.
Ubolauri. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
This is how we do it.
Yep.
Every early in the morning. How did you feel waking up at ungodly hours?
Yeah,
very normal.
Kind of normal. It's normal.
Yes.
Nothing out of norm.
Karibu.
Yeah.
Asante sana.
Yeah.
We'll get to that discussion very shortly.
Asante.
And finally, on the front page of the Star newspaper, millions lost in counties payroll scam. Okay, so more cash remitted for salaries than amounts in payroll. That is on the front page of the Star. And according to the Auditor General, that is Nancy Gadongo, there are some loopholes in the county payrolls. You know, fraud or manipulation of payroll. Another one is falsification of birth certificates to remain in service beyond retirement age. Okay. Remittance of more money to banks for salary payments than the amounts captured in payrolls. Another one is use of manual system, which is easily manipulated according to the Auditor General. Excessive hiring, payment of ghost workers. Last but not least, payment of irregular, erroneous wages and allowances, inflation of the number of casual workers, and yes, employees sharing the same bank account number. Okay? And here, this last one, lack of staff establishment and regular payments of and redesignations. That is according to the Auditor General. So there's a lot of things happening in the counties. Okay, so let's come back and talk about what's happening in the country. As we wait for Kili to arrive, let's get on the road with this. Nicholas, let's start on the front page of the Daily Nation. Storm over hiring of 10,000 police officers. They are proposing to go digital in as far as recruitment is concerned. And the public hearing that is happening right now, public participation rather, that took place yesterday at the KICC. A majority of them said that it is not well tenable. Let's talk about that. And also, the issue to do with Kalonzo Musyoka, Raila Odinga, and Uhuru Kenyatta ahead of 2027. First of all, welcome to the program once again.
Thank you so much.
So what do you make of this? The issue of millions lost in counties' payroll. We have got the 12th Devolution Conference happening in Homa Bay. And perhaps governors are very much aware of this. It has been raised over and over and over again. But the Auditor General is still raising it as we celebrate the 12th year and getting into the 13th year of devolution.
Yes. First of all, when you look at this matter, especially concerning the counties and the devolution that is going on right now,
yes,
the devolution conference, you get to see that, okay, the stride has been made since the inception of devolution.
Yes.
That is from 2013. But beginning now, look at the burden and also the allocations in the counties. You will find that some counties are still struggling to attain the goals that they set. And this emanates from the allocation, I mean disbursement of cash.
Yes.
The delays and all that. Look at so many governors with pending bills. Pending bills. And this is a major issue in the country. The contractors who have been given these works to do, and it has been a burden to them, some of them closing up their shops because of non-payment. So I think there is much to be done in the counties. And this is a major thing that should be focused, especially now in this conference that is in Homa Bay.
Yeah.
They should focus so much. And the stakeholders, plus the government, should come in from, especially the Ministry of Finance, should come in and explain and tell, we should have attainable goals in terms of disbursement. Because if the counties, for example, the last financial year, they were given 385 billion.
Yes.
Then at some point, we had counties no cash, workers going without payment, and so forth. But look at the corruption also. You've just said there, some staffs sharing account numbers. That is fraudulent in nature. So to me, I think we still have a lot in the counties, too much.
Because, you know, when you look at, there's another report which said yesterday that since the inception of the devolution, counties have received a tune of 3.7 trillion shillings. But then now, some of them are also still struggling with on-source revenue. They are not even able to raise their own-source revenue to pay pending bills and to survive accordingly. What do you attribute this to? Because they still have allocation from the national government either way.
Yes, they do. But you realize that the allocation from the national government is not enough. The on-source revenue, it's a major challenge. Number one, the manner in which it is collected. Some counties have not even digitized their collection method. Yeah. And some, let me just give an example of, I read another article where Kiambu had moved from collecting 2.4, and then they are now collecting around 5-point-something billion. And then look at Homa Bay. Yesterday I was just seeing the governor saying they are now collecting 1.2 billion. So some counties are still collecting way less. And that is not even enough to do anything, even to pay just staffs. It's not enough. So there is much to be done in terms of balancing between what comes from the national government and what they collect, but mostly in digitizing so that we cut away corruption. Because, for example, look at the parking fees. if someone goes at the parking fees and you're just collecting money without remitting it to the county coffers,
yes, how
do we account for that? So there is too much. There's too much to be done in terms of on-source revenue. I think governors should be intentional. Number one, they should be very intentional in terms of increasing the on-source revenue, so that the burden of depending on the national government is reduced. Reduced. For example, look at Nairobi, this county, Nairobi. Nairobi, from the first time, they are projected to even collect more. But now they're collecting less. Why? Because of just consolidating the means in which they're collecting this cash. Yes.
When you look at even how you talked about digitization of the payment, some of the counties, yes, have digitized, but having one till number or one payment stream is also a challenge to some of these counties. You have a county with several pay bills at different accounts, and now when Auditor General raises some of these concerns, and then you look at some of the counties who are still stagnating in terms of development, who would you blame for this?
First, I'll blame the governors. I'll blame the governors. I think I'll blame both sides. We have, for example, if a county has more than 100 pay bill numbers, okay, in which account are these monies going to? We are supposed first to look to, okay, let me take an example of the national government. They came in and the e-citizen thing and all that. So all the cash collected is centered in one place. But now, some of the counties are alleged to some accounts going to individuals. It is collected going to individuals. So this is a big issue, and unless it is looked at, a lot of money is going into people's hands without going into where it is targeted. Now, digitization is the only way to cut out this. To say that maybe a county, if, for example, one county has one pay bill and it goes to one account, all this money belongs to one county. So why should it be in one place instead of having so many of them, and we really don't know where it is going?
In the past, there are some counties which were being accused of having numerous accounts. Going over 50 bank accounts. Okay, I don't want to mention some of the accounts, but then some of the issues being raised by the Auditor General is something that needs to be looked into. Now that we are celebrating 12 years of devolution and getting to the 13th one, I think some of these things will be discussed there and sorted out. Let's take a break and we come back. Let's talk about the politics of the day. What is the role of Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka? He's so silent, all right? And how will his power and influence affect 2027 elections? What about Raila Odinga? What about Uhuru Kenyatta and President William Ruto? I'm talking about the four gentlemen. Let's talk about that when we come back. Stay with us. And welcome back. It's now 4 minutes past 7 a.m. Let's get into it. So, the clock is now fast ticking towards 2027 general election, and political alliances are fast shifting, and many of them are being formed today and even moving forward. We are likely to see many of them coming up ahead of the 2027 general election. The three gentlemen I want us to talk about is Honorable Raila Odinga, President William Ruto, and of course, Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, who for quite some time has been quite silent. Let's talk about the effects of these three people towards 2027. So, Nicholas, how would you put the three gentlemen in one lineup ahead of 2027 general election?
There is much already that we have seen taking place in the country. Look at the opposition. Okay, there are many political formations already going on. So I'm looking at it from this angle. We have on one side, we have Kalonzo Musyoka on one side, and then we have the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga on one side, then we have President Ruto on the other side, and then we also have Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yes.
Now, all these guys, if you break it into pieces, you will see that the country is divided into kind of regions. And then in those regions, you put tribes. The representation of these figures. Who are they representing? They are like commanders of their own communities. And they play a big role even running up to 2027. So, okay, they have much to do. Look at President Ruto, what we are seeing going on in the country right now. Look at Raila Odinga, the kind of statements he's making, and that includes ODM as a party. And then Kalonzo Musyoka is here. He's saying he will do anything possible to make sure that Ruto goes home. So there is much that we expect, though we have not seen the full blown of what we expect to see. There is so much that this political formation is going to show us. But in the meantime, I think the ground is still simmering. It's still simmering in a manner that who knows what may happen tomorrow. Maybe these gentlemen may work together. Who knows? But that is the political air of Kenya.
In politics, everything is possible, and
it is possible.
Wakili Kithi knows that pretty fine, right?
Yes.
Good morning.
Politics in Kenya is a ground where Kenyans act at the highest. Highest in terms of the activities, highest in terms of the political octanes and decibels. So it's building up now. The most important thing is, as a nation, it defines what is we pretend, we included, we intended in the Constitution. Let me put it this way, as I put it before. For every election, the people are called upon within a cycle determined as 5 years for us, that they will exercise a bias for someone and against someone, so that then the majoritarian prospect would be that we get a leader from that competitive environment. What has happened is we then have emotionalized the process such as that probably it becomes the most dominant issue towards the termination of the election cycle. Such as now that we get glued into politics. We then divide ourselves within what then would be available as a fissure in society. Of course, ethnicity is one definitive part. Sometimes religion portends itself. Sometimes class stratification in society portends itself as one of the fissures. At times, it is probably a generational issue. The Gen Z would want a stake for it. The youth would want to speak for it. The elders would want to speak for it, and so on and so forth. But that definitive fissures, those definitive fissures are not put anywhere where we have a text code we would want to apply. Nobody calls upon you to vote on ethnicity. In fact, it's available for you to choose, or religion, or any other. Now that there's no such guidance, it's upon the discretion of a person, the emotionalized aspect that becomes dominant in the person, as has been emotionalized in the person by how campaigns have come. So then you make a decision. And with that, we hope that the society's elasticity is good enough to hold. Because you see, when you bias yourself, you separate yourself from the other. But we hope, and it is always hope, that we are able then to have an elasticity of the code of unity in the country, such as that, yes, we can push it to division, but still hold as a country. That's the most important part.
But then, again, when you look at the three gentlemen, I'm just trying to look at that factor. How are they going to influence the 2027 general election? Let's just bring it down to the three of them. Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, Honorable Raila Odinga, and of course President William Ruto, who is also yearning for a second term in office. Raila Odinga has not been in office, and of course Kalonzo Musyoka is also probably angling for that. ODM is planning to do national elections and later on probably celebrate ODM at 20. All these things are geared towards engineering and pushing some agenda towards 2027.
Let me say this, that the Gen Zs are right. The secret is in numbers. Where are the numbers? Because as you analyze a political situation towards getting the most, you ask yourself where the numbers are. And the numbers are in ethnicity, at least how we are socialized in the country. The numbers are ethnicity. So when you ask those that want to vie, where are the numbers? They'll tell you this clan and this clan and this clan. I come from the majority. I come from the minority, but I will pair up with so and so. So it's in the fissures. The number is in the fissures. The division then gives you the pattern that you ought to put together for you to have the most. As you mention those names, and as we continue to see the patterns as emerging, we are seeing chieftains, tribal chieftains, ethnic chieftains, and representation of fiefdoms in the country, which, as I've said, the most dominant available one that can be seen optically is ethnicity. So then what you need to do is ask the ethnic numbers that are available for purposes of forming together, coming together in order to have the most, because we are majoritarian in seeking leadership. In doing so, therefore, you will begin to realize that the opposition is coming together for purposes of calling upon or emotionalizing that which they think is behind them in support, tribally, ethnically. And therefore, what you are doing as you campaign within that context, you are ethnicizing the competitive environment for purposes of emotionalizing your people into your fold, get your bargain, and then hopefully with another and another and another, you form a majoritarian, and then you can win. But remember that what we're also seeing is that the president seemingly, with Raila Odinga, having been veterans in the past competitions, are also coalescing towards forming a majoritarian. I believe, in my mind, that the only way you can coalesce those two is when there are reforms in this context. That you can only exist them together when they have paid shared power in law, not in the manner that they exist. If it comes to a robust competitive environment, their positions, as they will then agree to, needs to be anchored in a reformist approach, so that then there's a reform to anchor certain, to pigeonhole their positions.
Does it mean that they, right now, whatever they're talking about is not...
What we're headed to, and that's my prediction. I think even as they prepare in all that you have said, you know, clawing one issue after another, is towards a reform so that some position can be anchored either in law or in the Constitution.
Do they speak the same language, the two gentlemen? Do they speak the same language?
The matter of language, I don't think it matters now.
Politically speaking, so.
Yes. Politically speaking. But look at what they represent, just like Wakil is saying. Everyone is coming from a majority. They look at what is it that you're bringing on the table. How much number do you have, or how many people do you have, and the region you're representing. Like I said, why did the government go for Raila Odinga? That is a question to ask. He did not just go for the sake of going because he's Raila Odinga, but he represents a region. He represents a certain number of people. So bringing them together, he thinks is more secure. But looking forward, projecting to 2027, you look at it like they say, we are going to work beyond. It represents a number.
Over the weekend.
Yes. It represents a number. Because you want to be comfortable in a manner that I know I've secured a certain number, because politics and elections is about numbers. Who has the highest number is the winner. So these two gentlemen, and I should put it like this, look at the position Raila Odinga is playing and the position the former President Uhuru Kenyatta is playing. He's quiet, but he's pushing. Some people are waiting for his word. And this is a region waiting for his word, not just some people. So it comes back to ethnic lines and those tribal lines. And to me, these elections of 2027 is clearly defined in those lines.
Where are the numbers? Because the Gen Z also has quite a good number. But basically what we've always seen in the past, the election is always as per the regions, all right? But this time around, we cannot wish away Gen Z.
Yeah, but you must bring in the factor of these political figures, the chieftains, bring in their influence to Gen Zs. Because at that point, they will now go back to their cocoons of where do we come from? Like our people.
The Gen Z or the politicians?
Yeah, no, the Gen Z, the influence of the politicians.
But do Gen Z really know even where they come from?
They do. They do. Look, for example, just recently, look at the political things that have been going on in the country. You see there is this balkanization. Some people are collected. I'm telling you, the influence of this politician is so big on these guys. Yeah. It's very big in this way. At the end of the time, they'll be called somewhere. Then they're told, don't forget you belong somewhere. Don't forget you are so-and-so. Don't forget that without you, this region is going to fail. So this influence is so big to them. It's very big to them. Though a big number, I suspect, will not fall for that trap, but a certain number, it is going to influence the outcome of 2027.
We're still talking about numbers, Wakili, because the number of voters who did not actually get who did not vote last election was so huge. Yes. And when you have this number, plus the number of registered voters that we are just about to see in the next drive, that would mean that this number is going to be extra huge. We have got these three gentlemen. He's also brought another gentleman here, President Uhuru Kenyatta, former president, and the Gen Z. How will this really, when you look at the balance, the Gen Z numbers and the people who did not vote in a last election, and now the three gentlemen, how will they influence the number that did not vote to their favor?
The pattern of the election in this country, how we've experienced it before, and I think that will remain a constant, is that there's usually two dominant forces that compete. Those are the obvious names that continue to recreate the political scene over time, and therefore they become the most dominant competitive figures, and are either ethnic-backed or a group of ethnicity, groups of ethnicity or ethnical balkanized fiefdoms come together for purposes of what they will form a majority that is attractive in terms of the prospect of winning the election. And this is usually formed at the highest, especially for presidency. Now, ordinarily, out of the two, there's one that becomes the tilting force.
That's called the third force.
For Kibaki, I think it was Tharaka Nithi. President Kibaki. We came to Uhuru. He created, I think, Northeastern. That came into force later. Now, right now, I can't predict which will be the tilting group, either ethnically or religiously, but I do see from how we've been socialized that the emerging third force out of the two fissures that we have between opposition government is now Gen Z. You see, the Gen Z are going to align emotionally because they have grievances that ought to be addressed. If not addressed, or hope is not given towards addressing them, they will then align. They seem to know what they want. The character of a political outfit that you can say will sustain itself in the negotiation towards a negotiation table is one that is already definitive. I believe the Gen Z movement is already definitive because the character of the Gen Z is that one is already formed on account of a generation in terms of time and years.
Yes.
Number two is that they already have tested their movement in terms of a push for or an intention. And they've done that towards which they've seen the successes available, which they can arrogate to themselves. For instance, the president did give in to certain of the demands, including dissolution of a cabinet and forming one towards where we are. Number three is that they believe in the numbers that they have. They are organized in their own context towards a certain goal, and they can come out on a day's notice, 2 days' notice, but available for themselves, which means this, that the only probably undoing which they would have, their IDs and their voters' cards. If those two are available for them, and they have their IDs and they have their voters' card, reorganizing themselves towards or against a certain bias is then a tilting force out of the two forces that will be available. So my prediction is they will not probably themselves, with the tag of a third force, produce the candidacy itself, the candidature. But they will then influence and tilt whichever side that they will...
Well put. But then, this is another question. Do they really understand the real traditional politics that we play? I mean, you said that for them, it's an emotional kind of thought. You tune them emotionally and you're good to go.
Yes.
But then now there is that aspect of numbers. Look at Western, look at Coast, look at Mombasa, not Mombasa, Coast General, go to Western side of it, go to Nyanza. We have got these blocks that you've also mentioned that during President Mwai Kibaki we had Tharaka Nithi. And then now we have got Gen Z. But then the Gen Z are also looking at their time and saying, you know what, we are on our own. We are not aligned to any politician. Who is going to win their hearts?
I think number one is the Gen Zs in their formation. The person going to appeal to them is the person who is going to first present their agenda in a manner in which they accept. For example, let's see the fielding in of political parties in this coming election, the 2027 election. Most of the people going to be voted in are young people. These are young people, and who will vote them in? These are Gen Zs. Now, but don't forget the influence of money also in the Gen Zs, in terms of, okay, like Wakili is saying, they are going to be the third force. But I'll call it a swing vote. Why a swing vote? Because whoever is going to present to the Gen Zs the agenda that they want to be put in the government is the one they're going to vote in. But the influence of money is going to be too big. If the government is going to throw some carrots to them, like they're doing, the rounds and what we are seeing going on in the country in terms of approaching, actually it is approaching, trying to approach the Gen Zs and bring them closer. From the demonstration that we've seen, going forward to pacify the country, maybe to calm it down and so forth. But the Gen Zs, their number, I tell you, from my view, is going to be split. That's why I call it swing. It's going to be split first through cash, tribe, and then the social factor.
Who is going to appeal to them most? Well, I don't want us to predict so much, but look at the three gentlemen, and President William Ruto, Raila Odinga, and Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, should all of them be at the ballots? Who would mostly influence
look at this
their support?
The support will fall mostly on, President William Ruto holding the government. Look at the resistance he's had already from the Gen Zs. And the biggest opposition that the president has had is from the Gen Zs. Not even from the opposition party, that the one we have. It is from the Gen Zs. So I think the political formation is going to measure themselves around on how to appeal to Gen Zs. Every political party, in fact, their hunting ground is Gen Zs. Every political party is going for the Gen Zs. And this is the way they're going to do it. They are going to appoint young leaders to fill them in their several, maybe from MCS, MP, Senator, and even Governor. So that is the only way they are going to appeal to, because these people will say, okay, this is one of our own. Okay, this is our young guys. So they are going to carry our agenda, and they are going to carry our problems. But if, for example, they are going to field in some old guys and all that, Gen Zs will look like, okay, this has been the traditional politics we've been having. So they will shy away from that. And most likely, the Gen Zs will go into this election to punish, not even to elect, to punish a certain, maybe political party, because they have failed them. And that is what I see coming.
When you look, these people know each other. They've worked together in the past. The three of them, in fact, the four, if you even include President Uhuru Kenyatta. All of them have been together at some point. Is there any chance of them coming together? I mean, the three, leave alone President Uhuru Kenyatta.
There's a chance. I think the human person intrinsically is predetermined to exist. Survival for the fittest.
Yes.
So you first exist in in whatever space that you occupy. So they will unite for me if there is an emerging common threat. If there will be an emerging common threat, for instance...
You're talking about the three?
Yes. For instance, Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto came together, which was completely unfathomable. But they came together on account of the threat by ICC.
True.
And when they came together, they formed what will be, sympathy for purpose of riding out the Kenyan vote towards electing them. And that's a bit, I think it was very bold and very resilient. So without a common threat, then they become threats as against themselves. And therefore they continue to go against each other, politically speaking. As for the Gen Zs, they exist in a nation called Kenya. So to upset and disturb the Gen Zs in their comfort that they've seen now, which they feel settled on account of a generational mobilization, is still very available and continues to be a common threat. What the Gen Zs have done is they've occupied a certain space within the political landscape, and they have disturbed an existent equilibrium then of the president and his common enemy, that will be opposition.
Yeah.
And therefore what the president did is, like I've said, the enemy being the Gen Zs. And I do not know how the Gen Zs became a common enemy between President Ruto and Raila Odinga, for Raila Odinga to cross into President Ruto's path for purposes, and government, for purposes of then forming an outfit that existed out of the Gen Z threat, right? I don't know how then that from either it is political opportunism that merged the two to form the common interest, or two, that then there was an interest that was being threatened by the Gen Z, such that then Raila Odinga
had to come in.
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's all a question of how do I exist, or how do I then, with the opportunity available, exert myself for political dominance in the circumstances towards, one, the political exploiting the political environment, but two, most importantly, I think in the circumstances of no election would be the political economics of it at the time. Because you do not have a job, you don't exist, you have to exist within the political economy of the time, which means somebody supports your political existence towards a tenure that needs to determine.
When you look at, I'm crazily running out of time, but then the last question I want to ask the two of you gentlemen. So what would make the two factions to go say, okay, the three to work together, or the two to work together? That is President Uhuru Kenyatta, President William Ruto, and Raila Odinga. You talked about another force somewhere. What if that force doesn't exist? Of course, this is an election. There will be another force.
Yeah. Okay, that force, it's not a matter of whether it will exist or no. It must be. It is always there. Now, look at the Gen Zs as a bloc. Gen Zs as a bloc by themselves are a threat to the traditional political parties. In a manner like this, if the government and the opposition, they feel, or at a particular time will feel, that our threat will be the Gen Zs, then they'll come together. But come together to form their formation against the Gen Zs. But don't forget that the Gen Zs, by themselves, even if, okay, we've seen the claim that they are leaderless, but like I said before, they are going to present their leaders. It cannot be, maybe it may not be national, but at local levels, like from the MCS, the MPs, the senators, the women rep, and all that, the Gen Zs are going to field in their candidates. So this is going to split the probability or possibility of these guys working together, because that is where I said now the Gen Zs will become a swing vote. Who appeals to them will go with their vote. Who doesn't appeal to them is punished.
He said they have to be emotionally charged if it doesn't work. Gentlemen, are we supporting Harambee Stars?
Yes.
So will you be at the Kasarani on Sunday?
We have to.
Please, let's be there. I've been there all through the games.
Yeah.
I think the president has done well this time around to motivate. He's done something we never thought he would, basically. Money matters, right? I think money matters. When you're in that field, you have the ball, and you remember 2.5 million, I think you're going to play the ball.
You'll three-bedroom house at a location of your choice.
Migori, Kakamega, wherever.
I saw someone saying that kumbe we were just missing money, the money factor in this team.
I mean,
we can even beat Argentina.
Yes, there must be something to die for, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
But nevertheless, we support the team. Go Arabic Stars, go. We need this. That stadium was built in 1987 for all African games, and right now, the dream is coming. We are playing Chan at home ground. Gentlemen, that's the only time we had. I wish we had more time. Thank you so much, Nicholas Wanjala, who is a political analyst. People of Kwanza, he's here. And people of Kilifi County, he's also here. They are working. They are working.
So much. I should look at these faces and remember.
2027 is here. That's why we're talking about politics. Hello.
Exactly.
George Kithi, thank you so much for the show.
Thank you.
Asante sana. Let's take a break. Mike Migwi is up next with the engineers. Let's talk about engineering. Up next. Stay with us.